All right, hi friends. We're back to do a little bit of reading. We're back to comparing and contrasting again this week. It's a really tough skill. I'm not going to lie to you, comparing and contrasting, but it's a really important skill to learn because it really and truly helps us to understand what we're reading, and it helps us to understand it even better. Okay, so when we're able to compare and contrast, it helps us to take what we're reading and really get the important information out of it and understand how to tell the difference between the different things that we're reading about. So that way we're truly understanding what we're learning, okay? Not everything is the same, and when we learn the differences between things, that's when we truly understand something, okay? And we're going to see that later this week too, just jumping ahead a little bit when we talk about science, when we talk about herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores. We're going to learn about that later in the week, but it all depends on the type of food that they eat. Well, then it's also understanding the difference in their teeth, because their teeth are all different. Animals that eat only meat, their teeth are different from animals that only eat plants. And then animals or people like us that eat animals and plants, meat and plants, have different kinds of teeth. So understanding differences between things is really important to learning, okay? So we're going to see that later this week, and we're going to talk about it later this week when we talk about the different kinds of foods that animals and people eat, okay? Today what I want to do is just do a quick little warm-up. And so I'm going to ask you to open up your Skills Buddy to page 14 and 15. This is your new purple one that you have, to page 14 and 15 in the circles, okay? We've seen this little boy before, right? And he's thinking about his two bicycles. I'm just going to fold it over because I just want to do a quick little warm-up. We've looked at this before, okay? Let's take a look at the bicycles on this page, okay? All right. So, how are they alike? Let's take a look. How are these bicycles alike? Okay. Well, the biggest thing is they both have what? They both have handlebars, right? Okay, so that's how they're alike. They both have seats. Exactly, they both have seats. And they both have what to make the bikes go? They both have pedals, right? Okay, so they both have pedals to make their bikes go. There are a lot of other things that are probably similar about them, but I just wanted to look at those three things right now. Just a little quick warm-up. They have handlebars, they both have seats, and they both have pedals, right? They have those same three things. That's how they are the same. How are these bikes different? How are they different? Okay. Again, there are a lot of different ways that they're different, but the one I'm going to point out today is this bike has training wheels. This bike does not. Okay, so that's how they're different. This bike has training wheels, this bike does not. Okay. Now, using that information will help me to understand better that if I have someone who has not learned how to ride a bike on their own yet, understanding the differences between these two bikes, if I was looking at them in the driveway and I had a friend who had never ridden a bike before, understanding the difference between these two bikes, okay, that this one has training wheels and this one does not, which bike would be the better bike for my friend to ride if they've never learned how to ride a bike before? Very good. The bike with training wheels. Understanding the difference between a bike that has training wheels that helps you stay stable as opposed or in different to a bike that does not have training wheels that you have to balance on your own. Understanding the difference between those two helped me to understand better which bike I would recommend to my friend who has never ridden a bike before. Okay, so do you see? Understanding the differences between things is really important to understand something even more so. Okay, all right, so that was a quick little warm-up to comparing and contrasting. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to listen to a story about a little girl who is building a doghouse with her dad for her dog Freckles. Okay, I want you to listen to the story. In the story, I want you to be thinking, comparing, meaning how are they the same, and contrasting, how are they different? How the little girl's house, her real house, and how her dog Freckles' house are different and how they are alike, okay? So listen very carefully to my story, okay? Our story is called A House for Freckles. Marie and her dad are building a doghouse for Freckles. Marie wants the doghouse to look just like their big house. They plan, measure, and cut the boards just right. That way, the pieces will all fit together tightly, and Freckles does not need a leaky house. They nail boards down for a floor. They nail boards up and then crossway to form the walls. They leave a space for the door, and of course, Dad says, Freckles does not need windows. A dog will not need pipes or wires either, and the roof goes on last. Marie paints the doghouse with paint left over from the big house. Dad nails leftover shingles on Freckles' roof. Home at last, Freckles. How do you like it? Okay, so let's think back to the story. So Marie and her dad are building a doghouse for Marie's dog named Freckles. Marie said she wants to make the house like her big house. Okay? All right, so that means that she's trying to make it like her house. So there are going to be some things that are going to be the same about her house and Freckles' house. But Freckles is a dog, right? So there are going to be some things that Freckles probably does not need in his house that are in the big house. And I think that's where we're going to see maybe some of those differences, okay? So let's think about it. All right. In what ways were Freckles and Marie's house the same? What were some things about their house that was the same? And I'm going to pull out my Venn diagram here so we can look at this, okay? What were some things that were the same about their house? Okay, so I'm going to say, well, they both had walls, right? Marie's house had walls and Freckles' house had walls. Okay. They both had a door, right? They both had door because you have to have a door to get in. If you don't have a door, no one's getting in, right? Okay. And they both had a roof. So both Marie and Freckles' house had walls, had a door, and had a roof. Now, let's think about some things that were different about Marie and Freckles' house, okay? One of the things that Dad said was, Freckles definitely needed a door, but what did Freckles not need? Freckles didn't need a window, right? Because Freckles isn't going to sit there and look out a window or open a window, right? So Marie's house had windows, right? Marie's house had windows. Freckles' house had no windows, okay? Now, in Marie's house, people need pipes. And what do those pipes bring into the house? They bring water, right? And wires bring in electricity, right? So Marie's house had pipes and wires, right? Marie's house had windows, pipes, and wires. Freckles' house had no windows, no wires. Do dogs need electricity? No. And no pipes. Very good. Now, there was one more thing that was the same about Freckles' house and Marie's house. And she used some of this because it was left over. It was the same color, right? All right. So if I look at my Venn diagram, this is Marie's house, and this is Freckles. Okay? The thing that was the same about them in the middle of those two circles was they both have walls, they both have a door, they both have a roof, and they were the same color. But the things that were different, that made Marie's house different and made it a house for people to live in, was it had, I should put an S here, it had windows, it had pipes, and it had wires. People need windows, they need water, and they need electricity. I understand that by looking at the differences because that's where people are living. If I look at Freckles' house, no windows, no wires, no pipes, well, that makes sense that those are different things about Freckles' house because dogs don't need those things. People do, dogs don't. So understanding the differences, the things that are alike and similar, help me to understand a story better. If I'm going to go to Marie's house, which house do I need to stay in if I'm a person? I need to stay in her house, not Freckles' house. But if I bring my dog along, which house would be good for Freckles or for my dog? Freckles' house, right? Exactly. All right, my friends. Very, very, very good job. Comparing and contrasting is a really tough thing, and we're going to even practice it again this afternoon in science when we compare how people's homes and animals' homes are different and how they are alike. Okay, so we're going to do even more practice with comparing and contrasting this afternoon in science, okay? All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of writing, okay? And so we just read a story about Marie and her dad building a doghouse together, okay? What are some things that you and your family like to do together? Well, I know Patrick, Cormac, Mr. Rooney, and myself, we like to play games. I like to play games with my family. I like to travel with my family. I like to go to the beach with my family. I like to bake with my family. I like to read with my family. So there are a lot of things that I like to do with my family. So I want you to be thinking about some of the things that you like to do with your families. Okay, so just take a couple minutes and think of a couple things that you like to do with your families. Okay, so if I were to say the sentence, I like to bake with my family. If I look at that word I'm using that word in place of my name. I wouldn't say Mrs. Rooney likes to bake with her family. I use the pronoun, that means the word, to take place of my name when I'm talking about myself. So instead of saying Mrs. Rooney likes to bake with her family, I would use the pronoun I. When I'm talking about myself and I'm replacing my name, I'm going to say I. I like to bake with my family. Okay? I can also use the pronoun, the word me, when in place of my name. And I use that at the end of a sentence. So for example, I would say, my family likes to bake with me. Very good. I would say my family likes to bake with Mrs. Rooney. I would use the pronoun me to take place of my name. At the end of a sentence, after the action, you're going to use the pronoun me when you're replacing your name. At the beginning of a sentence, before your action word, you would replace your name with the pronoun I. Okay? So listen to these sentences. Mrs. Rooney reads a book. What pronoun would I use to take place of my name there? I like to read a book. Okay? See how that works? Okay. Now listen to this one. Please give the book to Mrs. Rooney. If I'm saying that, if I'm saying to you, please give the book to Mrs. Rooney, if I want to use a pronoun, I or me, to take place of my name there, I would say, please give the book to me. Very good. It's at the end of the sentence, after an action. I use the pronoun me to take place of my name, okay? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to practice a little bit, and then you're going to use I and me this morning, okay? In a writing. All right, let's take a look at my board over here. I have those two words up there, I and me, okay? And I'm going to turn you a little bit. I don't want to lose you too much here. Okay. All right, here we go. This will work. Okay. I and me. All right, so listen carefully. Blank played a game. Blank played a game. Okay? If I said, what I'd like you to do is put your name in that sentence. So for example, I'll say Jack. Okay, Jack, you would say, Jack played a game. If you were saying that to someone, if you were saying Jack played a game, what pronoun would you use to substitute, take place of your name in that sentence? Or for example, if I had Emily, Emily played a game. If Emily was going to substitute, Emily or Jack was going to substitute a pronoun for their name, meaning put it in the place of where their name is, take their name out and put one of these pronouns in there, what pronoun would they use there? They would both say, very good. They would say, I played a game. Okay? If they were looking for a pronoun to take the place of their name in that sentence. All right, so let's take another one. Blank jumped rope. Blank jumped rope. Okay? Say Charlie T was saying that, and say Leo was saying that, okay? Charlie T would say, Charlie jumped rope, or Leo would say, Leo jumped rope. If they wanted to substitute, take place, put in the place of their name, if they took their name out of that sentence, which pronoun would they put in for their name? Very good. They would say, I jumped rope. Excellent. All right. Let's take a look at this next one. Throw the ball to blank. All right. So let's say Francesca and let's say Malcolm. Okay. Throw the ball to Francesca, if she was saying that, or if Malcolm was saying, throw the ball to Malcolm. Which pronoun would Malcolm or Francesca use in the place of their name there? Throw the ball to Francesca, throw the ball to Malcolm. Which pronoun would they use there in place of their name? Throw the ball to me. Very good. All right. And let's take a look at this last one. Mom called blank. Okay. Mom called, we'll say Sophia. Mom called Sophia, or Mom called Thomas. Okay. So say Sophia or Thomas were saying that to someone. Mom called Sophia. Mom called Thomas. Which pronoun would Sophia or Thomas use to replace their name if they were saying that? They wouldn't say Mom called Thomas or Mom called Sophia. They would say Mom called. Very good. Mom called me. Very good. All right. So we use the pronouns I and me when we are writing about ourselves. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to do some writing in your copybook, okay? So I'm going to turn you so you can see. You're going to write 4-20-2020. How cool is that? 2020, right? Okay. You are going to choose either I, the pronoun I, to write about something that you like to do, or you're going to use the pronoun me today, okay? Remember, I is at the beginning of your sentence. If you're going to use me, it's at the end of your sentence, okay? So I'm going to give you my 2 examples so that you understand. I'm going to give you an example of each. You're going to choose one. You can either use I in a sentence or you can use me in a sentence, okay? But what you're going to do is you're going to choose which one you're going to use. You're going to write your sentence, and then you're going to illustrate a picture to go with it. And then you're going to put it on Flipgrid so I can see your writing and your work, okay? So for example, I would say, I will run fast. Okay? I will run fast. I is taking the place of my name. I wouldn't say to someone, Mrs. Rooney, run fast. Mrs. Rooney will run fast. I would say, I will run fast. Okay? Now, the next, so that's my example, and then I'm going to circle my pronoun I, and I would write, and I would draw a picture of me running fast. Now, if I wanted to use me instead, and you can use either one, I or me, I want you to choose one or the other because they're both important to learn, and I want you to use one or the other. I'm going to show you an example of how I would use me instead of my name, okay? So I'm going to write the word wave. W-ave. Wave. W-a. Okay, so what's that first sound I hear? W. Very good. I hear a W. W-a. A. I hear an A. W-a-v. What letter makes that V sound? Very good. V does. Okay. Now, because A is saying its own name, we talked about this earlier, what do I have to put at the end? I have to put an E. Very good. Wave. And then I'm going to use the sight word to. Wave to. Now, if I were saying this to someone, would I say wave to Mrs. Rooney? What pronoun would I use to substitute for my name? I would say wave to me. Very good. Wave to me. Okay? I'm going to circle my pronoun that's taking the place of my name. Okay? And then I'm either going to draw a picture for I will run fast or wave to me. You are not going to write 2 sentences. You are choosing 1 sentence. I was just giving you an example of both so you could see how you're going to do it. You'll have to turn into Flipgrid tomorrow to see which one I decided to illustrate, and I'm looking forward to seeing yours tomorrow too, okay? All right, great job on I and me and comparing and contrasting. I'll see you in a little bit for math.